it doesn't have a really big effect on the average person's life.
Well, no, the cases themselves, the actual list does not have an effect on the average everyday person's life, but an erosion of trust in the government, an erosion of trust in power speaks to the average everyday person's reasons for voting for Donald Trump.
Yes.
And one of the big parts of that is they feel like the government has been held unaccountable. They feel like celebrities like that get to spout off anything they want and nothing bad happens to them, no matter how much bad they do in the world. So that depends on your idea of average everyday lives and whether it affects them, because if it brings back a certain amount of trust in the people that we're supposed to believe are out to help us, or at least enforce the laws, then there is some type of benefit for everybody, because it can help start building trust once again with these institutions that we don't seem to care for anymore.
During his speech today, it was beautiful when he signed in. I got sworn in. I'm sorry, he said accountability like 3 times. Mm-hmm. It was the energy in that room when he was talking. Everyone was so excited. He had the boys in his room with him, and so Kash Patel being sworn in is gonna. Hopefully he brings us that accountability that we're all looking for and we're seeking.
Will, do you have a sense of what kind of director Kash is going to be? And
I mean, he's going to be a badass. Like we've seen Kash is extraordinarily effective. I think the thing that Kash did during the first administration, he was working for Devin Nunes. He did an incredible job revealing what Adam Schiff and what a lot of the Democrats had been doing to try and screw with the Trump administration, to try and manufacture the Russia narrative. He's really diligent, and he's also been targeted by these people. I think one of the best parts of the way that Trump has set up his cabinet is in so many cases, he's chosen people that have been in some way the victim of the agency they're now overseeing, right? Like he chose Tulsi Gabbard as the head of DNI. Tulsi Gabbard was on the Blue Skies. I
think it was Quiet Skies.
Quiet Skies, right?
Yeah.
Some Skies. Yeah. The program that was, instituting the surveillance over her, and now she gets to supervise them.
One of the things that I find most problematic with that is Tulsi Gabbard as a lieutenant colonel in the National Guard, or I think she was the reserves, lieutenant colonel in the reserves, like that. To be that to achieve that kind of rank, like that's not like a butter bars lieutenant. That's a very high ranking person, and to think that even though she's gone through all the vetting necessary to not only be that to be an officer in the National Guard and then an officer in the reserves, but also to continue to get promotions while after they've already started to slime her and stuff. I think that it speaks to how. How bad the narrative building machine, was, and how they were treating people. But you mentioned the people that Donald Trump has had gotten confirmed. But I think it was Bhattacharya was the
Bhattacharya. Yeah, Bhattacharya was targeted by NIH. Mm-hmm. Right. They NIH and Francis Collins, who's the previous head, did all this work to marginalize him. And now he's running NIH, nice. and that's a sort of consistent theme where. This is not going to be the first administration. I supported Governor DeSantis in the primary. A lot of people know that. And I went down to actually work for him. And I mean, a big part of it, wasn't. I was a Trump supporter in the first term, but I knew that there were issues with how he had staffed up, and he had a lot of trouble kind of getting a hold of the administration. And I think he'd admit as much. But I've been thrilled by the first month of Trump 2 and every pick, and it's just clear like. Not only has he learned from the mistakes of the first term, has he selected people who are not going to just be captured by their institutions. He's also personally very invested in ensuring that the government functions the way it should this time. And I think, I really think in many ways, it's like the 4 years off has done him really good. And we're about to. I'm thrilled with what I'm seeing. I think we're about to have a really amazing 4 years.
Even look at how vocal in front of the camera J.D. Vance is in comparison to Mike Pence during the first term. He's taken a much more front seat approach to how he's taking on the media and pushing forward the ideas that the Trump administration is trying to push through. And he is very, very good for that. And it speaks to a big change between term 1 and term 2.
Yeah, I think it's important that not only Donald Trump be Donald Trump and talk to the media the same way that he does and be that strong persona that he is, but having a vice president that will also take the media to task. Because one of the things that I really think that especially looking back, one of the worst things about Pence was he was clearly the old guard establishment, and he wouldn't stand up and say, you know what, no, the president is right, and actually take it to the left. And the media has been such a valuable tool to the left. And only recently has kind of the rest of the country, or when I say the rest of the country, I mean like the people that used to say, no, it's not that the media is biased. It's just that they're mostly in the city, so they have kind of a default urban perspective. No, that's not true at all. They're actually funded by NGOs and funded by organizations that are looking to push a narrative that comes straight out of the government. You know, when you talk about the USAID money that was going to, you know, Politico and other organizations.
I think the key thing with Vance is Vance means that Trump isn't a lame duck. Because Vance is what represents a further 8 years of continuation of what Trump is doing. And I think that's so different from the first term, where Pence was clearly not of the MAGA world. And so it's an opportunity to create a wedge. It puts in question whether or not this is going to be the permanent direction of the Republican Party. Vance puts an end to that. You have, you know, he's young, an elite communicator in his own right.
Yes, he's a fantastic speaker.
Yeah,
and he can take the media to task in a way that sometimes even better than Trump can. Like he is a better communicator, a better speaker, and he needs that right now, because one of the things is they like to harp on the misspeaks and the things that he says that he kind of, you know, Trump gets carried away and he goes off and then they grab onto something, right? That, and Vance doesn't have that problem. Kind of in the same way we would joke that Vance had this one bad moment where he tried to go into a donut shop and seem like a normal person and just fail. I'm like, you don't need him to do the normal guy shtick. He is a fantastic communicator, is a fantastic front of the line politician. Let him do that.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.